Hi, this is Jeff and welcome back to my channel. This is a video to show you the steps involved with assembling a lift eFoil, and in particular the board that I have is a 5'6" cruiser with there's only one size mast, and then I have a 250 high aspect wing and a 50 surf back. I will go ahead and show you that I already did attach the back wing to this. It was very easy with just 2 bolts there. One small minute note that I noticed in the instructions, it didn't tell you how to do this because I think the instructions precede the time that they offered detachable rear and front wing. It's very small, but I did read the instructions in detail, and I don't normally do that with IKEA furniture. I usually wing it and just figure it out, but something like this, I just want to take the time and make sure that I do things 100% correct and not screw anything up. So I'll go ahead and walk you through from start to finish. I haven't assembled this before. This is my first time, so I'm going to go ahead and work my way through it. So the mast here has the components, or pardon me, the connectors at the end, and then also the water line. This is for the coolant, and this threads into the hole here in the bottom of the eFoil. And you can just kind of see you got to kind of wiggle it down in there, and then we'll connect them in the hatch later to the connecting pieces. Right now we're just assembling the mast on the board. And so it fits nice and snug into place, and then there are bolts that are provided with the kit, and they're called M8 bolts. They look like this. They're pretty short. I'm actually surprised how short they are. But they're very hefty. I don't know what the M stands for, if that's something to do with the torque or whatnot, but the instructions call to hand tighten them and then to use the provided hex wrench that comes with it to go ahead and make them nice and snug. So I'll go ahead and do this. While I'm doing this, I will just mention that one of the things that I found interesting that they called out is that you do want to use the Real X lubricant before you use the board for the first time to lubricate the connectors, primarily the ones that hook the battery in place, and also the ones that hook the mast to the computer, and then also the data connectors. So just all around, all the connections to use that lubricant, and that's supposed to help with the longevity of the part, from what I understand, and just to keep it from any potential chance of corrosion, especially if you're going to be using this in salt water. I'm predominantly going to use it in fresh water. I may venture out to the salt water eventually, but I'll have to register and license the board to do that first, so I'll get to that point eventually. So it's pretty straightforward. You just put 4 bolts in and you tighten them up. So I'll go ahead and just do this here. And just a general rule of thumb, you want to tighten them not 1 bolt tight at a time, but just work your way from one to the other and just do it that way sequentially, so that you're not going to over torque one and leave the other ones loose, but just from one to the next. That's about as tight as I can get without switching to the other side here. And really you just are hand tightening it, pretty much not over torquing it, but just really a nice firm snug fit there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. And I will recheck this after I ride it for the first time, just to make sure that nothing has come loose, and if it has, to make sure and tighten it. And then the next step is to go ahead and take the wing and slide it on the top here. And it's a pretty tight tolerance. I mean, it's really snug there. And then they call for what are called M6 bolts to affix those. And the M6 bolts are a bit longer. You can see them here. So one nice thing I'll just make a note of, how gracious of them to include extra bolts. So They include an extra bolt for the mast to attach to the board, an extra bolt for the back wing to attach to the front wing, and then an extra bolt for the wing to attach to the mast. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that before, where you're assembling something and a bolt falls behind, it falls into a crevice or something, and you're just at a loss. So I've never had that happen before. I appreciate the attention to detail with including just a little extra in case something happens. So, you know, I'm not sure if this is going to be the best way to do this. I'm going to actually go ahead and bring the board down just so I can really reach it better. And again, you're just going to go ahead and hand tighten these bolts before you use the hex wrench. It's a different size wrench for these ones, and so it's a little bit smaller. You can see the difference. Am I right? This is the one that is going to be used for attaching the mast to, or pardon me, the wing to the mast. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. And they really want you to get this nice and snug. And you know, these are very, very strong connections. I've actually read and seen other people who have used a rubber mallet, which I have handy here, to help tap and get the board just to, or the wing just to allow a little bit more tightening between the two bolts. Because you really want these to be nice and tight before you go out. And these things are built really tough, so it's not going to adversely affect anything. But you do want to make sure it's rubber. Yeah, and that's basically it. I mean, there's really not much else to do. I will note really quickly that the controller comes with batteries. I tested it, I turned it on, it works. And that it comes with a strap that you can attach to the controller to put your hand in it. I was really concerned, honestly, that this would be not sufficient to hold my hand in there, and that I have to get a wrist strap or something just in case. I'm not always going to remember to hold on to it when I'm falling, but you can tighten it up so that when your hand is in there, it will not fall. It will not fall. No matter how much you really yank on it, if you tighten it, it's nice and snug, and there's a pad in there that makes it just a nice form fit to your hand. One other thing I'll note here just is the fact that you can do it on both sides. So you'll notice that I have it on my left hand, and I am left-handed, so that's, of course, how I needed to do it. Very minute, but the lift logo's upside down just because it's traditionally oriented for someone who's right-handed, but I don't care. It's just, you know, goes on that hand. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put the board up on a stand that I made for it, and I'll get to talking about the connections, the battery, and the other parts to it. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.